The Young Bucks react to that CM Punk AEW Collision promo. A former WWE star worked backstage at AEW Collision. Jim Ross to take time off following AEW Collision. And will we get CM Punk versus KENTA at Forbidden Door? Hey, who knows? Anyway, hello and welcome to the What Culture Wrestling here with myself, Andrew Pollard, the Solo Sunday News. And let's dive straight into it because Crazy Phil's back. Crazy Phil is back, the Second City Saint, the voice of the voiceless, the straight edge superstar. CM Punk made his long-awaited return at AEW Collision's premiere episode last night. And Phil didn't waste any time. He went, as we have a great reaction video, actually, we have the What Went Down video with Andy Murray and with Michael Hamflett, as well as a live stream of them watching Collision. But as they put it there, Phil went scorched earth. The opening show promo, CM Punk just basically made his intentions clear. He lambasted a few people, he put a few people on notice, and one of the biggest lines to come out of this was where he referenced Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and said that David Zaslav calls him One Bill Phil because basically he's a genuine deal, the genuine artifact in a business full of counterfeit books. I see what you did there, Phil. But yes, this comment caught the attention of many wrestling fans. It's kind of doing the rounds on Twitter because, hey, these things always do. But the Young Bucks themselves have responded to CM Punk's comment. And thankfully, it's a nice playful comment because the Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, they tend to update their Twitter bio with certain things they want to get off their chest. And this time they've done that to say that basically, if it was in 2018, they would have already made a counterfeit books listing on Pro Wrestling Tees because the Bucks, hey, they're all about the money. They in terms of marketing themselves, they've done such a phenomenal job over the years in how any idea that they can get it out there, push it. Let's see if we can make some money off this because hey, pro wrestling a lot of the time is about making money. These guys and girls have got to make a living, and the Bucks have been phenomenal in their use of marketing. So it's just a little playful spin on that they'd have done counterfeit book shirt if it was a time before AEW, of course. Now, some people might speculate on this that seemingly that the relationship between the Young Bucks and CM Punk has relaxed a little bit because, I mean, there was the interview with ESPN that Punk did that came out on Friday, or was it Saturday? Friday or Saturday, whenever that came out. And Punk had said that he'd approached the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega to apologize for Brawl Out, and that he was basically fed legal notifications that, like, nah, this ain't happening, mate. And there's been lots of rumors and speculation that Kenny Omega's fine with CM Punk. He's willing to speak to him, but the Young Bucks are not. So this would indicate that, hey, they're at least having some fun with this. Whether the parties can work together in the future, that remains to be seen. But there's money there. There's money there. There's so much money there in the Elite versus CM Punk and FTR. Throw them in the mix, but whether we get that, we'll have to wait and see. Now, on to our next story. And Chris Hero, the former Cassius, oh no, the knockout artist, was at AEW Collision last night, working backstage. Seemingly as a producer, this story came from Fightful Select, where it said that Hero was backstage working as essentially what sounds like a tryout. Part of a trial where he was assisting backstage, seemingly as a producer, and that's a really smart move to me. If I'm Tony Khan, they brought in Jimmy Jacobs recently, who had formerly been with WWE and Impact in a creative capacity and as producer capacity, and it's like if you bring it in, you've launched this third weekly show, and we're not talking dark elevation, we're talking a proper TV show, 2 hours of television on a Saturday night, in addition to Dynamite and in addition to Rampage. It makes sense to look to bring more people in to help lessen the load, I guess is one way to put it. And someone like Chris Hero, I mean, the dude's been there and done it. He's obviously a favorite of the independent scene for years, 43 years of age now. It was only, maybe 2 weeks ago that he did an interview himself, which I think was with Grapsody, part of Fightful, where he said that he's not retired. He's just waiting for the right opportunity. Now, Hero has not wrestled since April of 2020, which is for NXT UK, which NXT UK is no longer a thing. That's how long ago it was that he last wrestled. But he said he's not retired from in-ring competition, waiting for the right moment. And something like this, to me, it's a no-brainer. Chris Hero been there, done it, been all over the independent scene. Any notable independent promotion you could think of, he's been there. He's wowed. He's had these great rivalries on the independent scene with, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, teaming with Claudio Castagnoli. Just obviously CM Punk, the stuff they did in IWA Mid-South. Just there's a lot there. There's a lot of history with that guy, with a lot of people in AEW currently, and obviously, of course, Ring of Honor. So I just think having someone with that much knowledge, that much respect from people in the business, if you can bring him on board, I think that's a very, very smart move. Now, while Chris Hero is seemingly coming into the fold of AEW, somebody taking a step back for the time being is Jim Ross, good old JR. Now, he was announced as being part of a three-man announced team with Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness for AEW Collision, which to me, that sounded great. I got a little bit of beef online because I bigged up JR, because Jim Ross is the greatest to ever do it. And while he may not be quite the Jim Ross of years gone by, he's still a phenomenal asset. He's still great on the call. To me, well, if I'm watching professional wrestling and I'm seeing stuff that to me doesn't quite make sense, and I'm like, man, that's not logical. That doesn't really work. Jim Ross is the person that makes me feel like not an idiot, because he calls it out too. I know that's not always productive to the product. I know there's maybe other ways to do it, but yeah, and maybe I'm just a grumpy old man too. But yeah, Jim Ross, man, fantastic. But yeah, he was announced as part of the Collision announce team. Though before Collision, JR had taken to Twitter to say he'd had a fall and he'd suffered a black eye. And when Collision came around, he was just used on the main event. So it was, to me, I was expecting Jim Ross throughout the show, but we just saved him for the main event, which is great. I thought what he said during the main event was fine. He was just very hoarse. So hopefully JR's okay. But he's taken to Twitter after Collision to say that, basically to apologize for how he sounded and say he'll be taking a step back to heal. So it sounds like JR's going to be, taking some time off, and hopefully he's okay, because, I mean, who does not love Jim Ross, man? I know that wrestling discourse, there's always hate in there, but how can anybody have any hate for Jim Ross, man? Just the career he's had, the life he's had, the things he's been through, the ups and the downs. Yeah, all the love in the world for JR, and hopefully his time away to heal goes well, and we will have him back on our screens, because he's the voice of professional wrestling, man, the greatest to ever do it, without a doubt, especially when you're talking, play-by-play, just phenomenal. So best wishes to JR. And one last story we've got here is CM Punk versus KENTA? Question mark? This is a match that's been just years in the making, because there's been both people have been very, well, KENTA in particular has been very public with, basically it's beefing over the GTS to go to sleep, because that's KENTA's move. Obviously CM Punk made it slightly more well-known just because CM Punk had a bigger platform in terms of WWE. Yes, this is a match that some people have thought that maybe we'll get this at Forbidden Door, because Forbidden Door takes place a week today, the 25th of June. But according to KENTA, this is a match that's never going to happen. Yes, he has taken to Twitter himself and literally just said that Punk versus KENTA is never going to happen. Now, it's worth noting that with a little pinch of salt, that KENTA, very much his social media activity is in character. It's kayfabe, essentially. He's his wrestling persona on Twitter. So, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into this, but for me, the bigger concern with putting together KENTA versus CM Punk right now for Forbidden Door is you've got a week to sort that out, and it seems a little bit, to me, I'd have liked a couple more weeks. I know you can throw these things together, but it just seems like maybe the timelines don't quite match up. Hey, and if we get a Forbidden Door 3, and if CM Punk is still employed by AEW, then maybe that's when you do it. Or we can do it at any other show. You could literally bring it, because of the relationship AEW has with other promotions, in particular New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's always agreements you can have. It doesn't have to be Forbidden Door, but you can still do that match, because there's a week still to get there. We've got Dynamite, we've got Rampage. Hey, we've got Collision. You could even pull it out of the bag next Saturday on Collision to set it up for the following day, if they really wanted to. I'm all for it, man. KENTA's just, it's so one of the great stories, I guess you could call it, in wrestling these last few years, is seeing KENTA getting his mojo back, because obviously in WWE and NXT as Hideo Itami, injuries really derailed that. He could have been a big star in WWE. I don't know how big of a star, because this was a WWE we'll talk about that was spearheaded by Vince McMahon. So whether just in terms of his size and his stature, obviously Kent is not normally what Vince would look for. So how far he could have got, but the talent was there, man. Just what a phenomenal in-ring worker. And so it's just good to see him get some of his mojo back. Now, yes, he is not the Kenta of prior to WWE. He's not that wrestler anymore. He's had to adapt a little bit. His injuries do take their toll. Age takes its toll. Trust me, I'm getting old myself, brother. But it's really cool to see him get like some spring back in his step. And if we get Kenta versus CM Punk, I will be right here for it. I think it could be absolutely great. Right. Now, this is where I bumble through Twitter to see what questions you've sent in. And hopefully I do that quite quick. Where are we? Right. Let's start with Lester Lee has got in touch. Which, of course, you can get in touch with What Culture WWE on Twitter and myself at Culture Peg on Twitter. So Lester's got in touch. So obviously we saw a lot of crossover in the women's division yesterday. But if you were to pick 3 women to spearhead Collision, who would you select and why? Right. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat. Oh, who would I pick? 3 women. I'm going to go with the logic that they are in AEW right now, rather than just 3 women across the industry. Or at least I'm going to go with the logic of they're not employed by WWE. I mean, the first one for me is Jamie Hayter, because Jamie Hayter, just brilliant. Brilliant. I love her in-ring work. Just snug as anything. Big, powerful, strong, dominant. Can be a great fighting babyface, but it's also an I don't know what words I can say on YouTube that will get censored or not. But she's a great villain as well. She's so good. The sass she has, the disdain, the utter disdain. I was fortunate to interview her for What Culture, maybe a year or so ago. It's just great. Just the sass she has as a bad guy or bad girl. Just, yeah. So Jamie Hayter is my number 1 pick. Thunder Rose is my number 2 pick, because Thunder Rosa, Mera, I cannot wait for her to return to our screens, because she's just in rings. So she's done the Spanish language commentary for AEW. But yeah, Thunder Rosa is another one, man. I remember the first time I saw her was in the NWA, and it was like she was the only wrestler, the only person, male or female, who had entrance music of some sort at that point. When the NWA was really good. God, man. What happened? Billy, come on, brother. What are you doing? Just anyway, yeah. So Thunder Rosa, and then number 3. I mean, Britt Baker is an obvious one, but on the other side of that, if you have Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter right now, they feel like they have to be 2. So you want kind of 3 wrestlers who can stand on their own. I mean, Britt could do that. I maybe go Statlander. Statlander's great, man. Again, great to see her back. But then, you know what? No, sorry, Stat. You're on hold right now. I'm going to go with Jade Cargill. She's still very green in the ring, but just that presence, man. It's the sort of thing you cannot teach. So yeah, we're going Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill. Bang. There we go. Right, next question. The one true Aaron Taylor's got in touch. Will Punk get the detrimental Cody Rhodes reaction from the crowd outside of Chicago? Well, that remains to be seen, because while obviously here I am loud and proud of my CM Punk t-shirt, and the majority of Chicago's United Center very much appreciated Crazy Phil, there were some boos. I mean, I'm not sure if I was hearing things, but there was still, even in Chicago, there was still rumblings. There was still some boos for CM Punk. So, I mean, whether he gets the full-on Cody Rhodes treatment, because Cody became like farcical, man, towards the end, where it was just like, You need to turn heel or leave the company, which obviously the latter, and he's doing great. You know, the biggest babyface in the industry right now. Yeah, so I think CM Punk. I say Phil like he's my best pal. Like no, we're getting way too informal. But yeah, I think CM Punk, there is a very big risk that he will be getting lots of boos in other places, but I don't think that's not necessarily a bad thing, man. The bad thing is if you're getting no reaction, and I think CM Punk, man, he's smart enough to play into this stuff. He doesn't care if he's a good guy or a bad guy. He doesn't care how you view him, how I view him. It's just a case of if he's getting whatever reaction he's getting, he will play into that. So yeah, I think Punk will get lots of negative reaction, but I think he'll be absolutely fine. Right, Gordon's got in touch. Well, do I have everybody's attention now? Yes, Gordon. What wrestler would you say is the biggest missed opportunity after being a protege? For example, Alex Riley when he was with The Miz, old A-Rai. You know what? I think that's off the top of my head. Yeah, man. Alex Riley could be the one. It seemed like he was destined for big things, and supposedly he had a bit of a fallout with John Cena. And before you know it, you're back in NXT, and you trying to look like Triple H with growing your hair out and the black trunks. Yeah, maybe Alex Riley. Let me think. I guess maybe as well, although it was kind of down to his own fault, to be honest. But I think Sin Cara, when he came in, because when he first came in, it was kind of like Rey Mysterio kind of took him under his wing a little bit. That was kind of a mentor sort of role, a protege. And Sin Cara clearly just obviously did not work out and got replaced and got fired. So, yeah. I think Alex Riley, I think you nailed it there, to be honest, Gordon. Right, MJF has got in touch. Happy Sunday. Hope the coffee is strong. Collision's theme is terrible and doesn't fit. I love Rose in the Attitude Era. What are your best and worst themes? Brother, the coffee has been this is going to be a killer for me on Sundays. Just a little bit behind the inside baseball, behind the scenes. I know it's very small, first world problems, but yeah, starting work at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, having to get up a bit earlier, so like basically 4:30 a.m. this morning to watch 2 hours of wrestling and then get a quick shower. These Sundays are going to be long, man. So yes, lots of strong coffee today, MJF. As for a Collision's theme, I don't mind it. I think it's all right. It's good. I do. I do like it. I do like it. Obviously, Elton John. Saturday night's all right for fighting. I'm okay with it. It's very cheesy, but it kind of fits. So I'm not too bad on that. As for best and worst themes, I mean, I think there's a lot in the worst pile where it's just like they're there. That's it. They're just generic. They don't stay in your memory. I mean, even the ones that WWE use these days, it's like, I don't really care. As for the best, you know what? The move to the music, it says funky music. I always thought it said something different back then. The one that had the ruthless aggression for Raw, that kind of jumps out. I like that a lot. And obviously the classic SmackDown one, which I cannot do because it's just noises, which I've just done, and it is noises. But the original one, that was really cool. That really kind of just set the tempo for SmackDown. And the whole layout of SmackDown there was just great. Peter Pasta, I'm sure Peter Pasta is a gangster from Hell's Kitchen, if I remember rightly. But anyway, Peter Pasta, the very first episode of Hell's Kitchen USA, Kitchen Nightmares USA, with CM Punk bringing out the title bag. Do you see a Collision World Heavyweight title coming? Maybe. I don't think so right now. I think more that was just CM Punk using something to basically say, look, I didn't get beat for this world title, and it's just a way to essentially put MJF on notice that, hey, don't just because I've been away, don't think I've forgotten that I was the world champion the last time I was here and nobody beat me for it. So I think it's more a prop for that, I would say, Peter. Now don't whack me. Mark Solid's got in touch. Morning, Andrew. Morning, Mark. Thoughts on a recent-ish heel turn where the heel still hadn't really justified the turn? Not necessarily a heel turn, but because he was already a heel, but an alignment. I think Powerhouse Hobbs, who brilliant, he's great. I look forward to seeing a lot more in now that Collision's around, because that guy, the ceiling's very high on him. But I think Powerhouse Hobbs, when he aligned with QT Marshall, when it was to win the TNT title, and it just kind of it came from nowhere, and it's never really been explained why Powerhouse Hobbs is with QT Marshall. It's like they're just there, and we get those really bad QTV segments, just absolute trash, absolute dumpster fire segments. I mean, if there's any QT Marshall fans out there, I'm sorry, but it's really bad. But yeah, I think the whole power, and obviously QT took to Twitter to say that, there was the reveal of DMs that he'd sent to Will Hobbs back whenever, just before Hobbs first came to work for the company. So there is a real, relationship there, which is fine. But in terms of on TV, it's never really been explained. So yeah, so it's not necessarily a heel turn, but an alignment there. I'm going to go with that. That I didn't quite get, and I think we're all good. I think we're all good. I'm sure there was one more message somewhere, and I have completely overlooked it because I can't find it. Because I'm scrolling through Twitter like a crazy old man. Yes, but that has been the Solo Sunday News. Myself, Andrew Pollard, here at What Culture Wrestling. I hope you're having the best possible day. As mentioned, go and watch other videos that will be floating around here, including Simon Miller will be here later today with the ups and downs from Collision. Michael Hamflett and Andy Murray have done a recap. They watched it live, and then they did the what went down. So go and check those out as well. And I will catch you next time.